Superstar quarterback Michael Vick was just hired by Norfolk State University, which is a HBCU university. It's down on its luck, kind of like what Jackson State was down on its luck with when Jackson State, hired Prime, which is Deion Sanders. A lot of these HBCUs are struggling because they tend to have funding issues, a lot of them. They don't have the necessary funding to have the right type of facilities, to be able to bring in and lure the right type of athletes, because they cannot compete with these Power 5 and these Division I universities. It's a non-contest in a lot of ways, and it seems unfair, and it might be unfair, but that's just the reality of this world that we live in. HBCUs will never be up to the level in terms of the funding, putting together athletic facilities, the same as these Division I schools, and it's just a realistic part of life, okay? So with Vic accepting this job, he was a candidate at Sacramento State University, and he has never coached before at any level. And we talked about this with Emmett Smith about 3 weeks ago when we had a show. And you brought up the fact that a lot of these athletes think that it's easy and they can go in and they can just magically snap a finger or wave a wand, and all of a sudden these schools will be back on point. But it doesn't work that way. And it takes a lot of work. It took Prime a lot of work to get Jackson State back to where Jackson State needed to be. And Jackson State is still in a good position because he left behind a really good situation at Jackson State. TC Taylor, I believe the coach's name is right now for Jackson State.
Doing a great job.
And TC Taylor is pretty much taking the wand and he has run with it. And Jackson State is constantly continuing to win. Michael Vick played 13 seasons in the NFL. 13, I would say, out of the 13, I would say 9 of the 13 was very productive seasons because he actually spent 2 years of his life in prison for dogfighting charges. And that kind of changed the dynamic of his legacy in the NFL, especially when it comes to him with a gold jacket, which we might not ever see him don a gold jacket. Who knows? We'll see. It's highly doubtable because, that negative portion of society is out there and they still have that stigma against Michael Vick. And it's kind of sad that they do, because people do deserve second chances in this world. But Isaiah, what I wanted to do tonight is spend a few minutes explaining from your perspective of Michael Vick getting this job, because he was working for Fox. He spent the last couple of years working for Fox Sports, and he's done a fairly good job with Fox Sports. As a matter of fact, he's not done a fairly good job. He's done a good job with Fox Sports. And just give me your impression of him getting hired by Norfolk State. And do you think he's going to be able to make an impact on Norfolk State?
Well, I think that if he surround himself with good, smart coaches, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, he's got to bring some bread to the table. He's got to get these folks to dish out some money to bring in some good coordinators, and that's going to cost money to bring them in. So with his lack of experience as a coach, he surely had to have some elite college offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators to make this thing run the way he needed to run to be successful. So if he comes with the lack of experience, and then if he gets some, the offensive coordinator and his staff, if they're not polished, he's going to take a nosedive. So I would recommend him get in there and start trying to find the best and the brightest minds on offense and defense to turn that team around, because like you said, they had some struggling seasons. He reached out and got him. He's going to get the name recognition. He's truly going to have, quarterbacks who looked up to him, whoever watched him play, want to play for him. It might be some, spotlight where, just like Prime did it, he came in there with his name recognition and he lured, players who've seen him play. They love his conversation. They love the way he spoke. Man, Vick is considered to be an underdog. He's been in trouble. And he worked his way out of it. He paid his debt to society. Some people just don't want to let that go. They resurface itself when he came back to the NFL. It resurfaced itself when he could be a commentator at